Alright, this is the second time I'll be presenting at ScrumncR. Matter of great honor for me and to present amidst such stalwarts. We just heard Amit Somani, and it was really lovely hearing him. And I'll try and do justice to the topic, though you might find it a little on the, or should I say, a lot on the controversial side. I actually called up Vikram saying, hey, I don't get any head or tail of the topic. And so he explained me a little. So I'll be sharing my experiences. I don't know whether I'll be able to strike a chord with you guys, but we can always take up questions. So let's roll. So I'm just setting the context here. By a product manager, I'm assuming a product owner, the role as Scrum prescribes. And us being a service company, we don't really have a product of our own. So I play the surrogate customer or the product owner role for all my projects. I talk to the client, discuss all the features, create the backlog, own it, discuss it with the team, all of that. And for examples, I'll be considering 3 projects. One is Deal Day, a web application, a Disney Muppets application that was synced with the Muppets movie. We were working with Disney on both these projects, and then the Disney holiday greetings. So this is what Scrum or the Agile framework really talks about the roles of a product owner. He's responsible for maximizing the value of the work that the team does. We all know the routine, the story estimation, the business value, the prioritization, all of that. He knows the product that is being built through and through, what the vision we are trying to achieve here. Then when we say he owns the prioritize this, we mean that he can always not really dictate terms, but at least guide the team in what needs to be picked up first as compared to what needs to be picked up later. And of course, he decides when the product is ready to ship. So when we talk about being shippable, he's the one who decides whether the product is shippable or not. Now, what I think that product owner 2.0 should be is this. He's not just the product owner. He literally slams his fist on the table and says, this is my product. He loves it like anything. The way this badge illustrates, somebody actually wearing this badge on his jacket saying, I drive a Harley Davidson motorcycle. Similarly, a product owner 2.0 needs to have that passion in him that this is my product. Could be, like Amit Somani said, could be a co-founder, or could be a person like a project manager who is actually talking to his clients, working out the product. But this is an essential feature, and I'll go over the rest of the slides explaining how we're trying to achieve this. Saying no to features. Now, we say that the product owner owns the backlog. So either he creates the backlog or he talks to the client and client says, I want these features or stories in it. But a critical point is saying no to features. Because as the graph really illustrates really well, only 13% of the features are often used. And 45% are never used. So if we really want to do justice to the product, if we really want to maximize the ROI, let's reduce the cost. And how do we do that? By not implementing these 45% of the features. So every time a client comes to you saying, hey, I want this feature done, you really need to sit and think, do we really need this feature? I mean, if you're going to use it just once, then why develop it? Why not do something quick and dirty? So there's this phrase called Yagni, you ain't gonna need it. And I picked it up during my Scrum Master training, which means that when a customer, or rather when a client comes to you saying, I need this feature, your default response should be, you ain't gonna need it. It's possible that he might just need it, the users might love it, fine, then go ahead with it. But this should be the default response. Now, a product owner typically would take input, in my case, from the client or from other the product owning team. co-founders, for example. But in my case, I'm taking the input from the team who's actually developing the project, because they are right at the forefront of what's happening. They know the ground reality. They are where the action really is. So they are the best guys to tell this could be a good feature to implement. This could improve the UX. This could improve the performance of the application. Some of the things that might not really strike a typical client. For example, in the project Muppets, Disney Muppets, we were encountering frequent issues of the application crashing on an iPad. And the customer, the Disney rather, wanted a lot of these objects on the screen. Tiny stickers, Mickey Mouse stickers, some graphics. We simply told them, let's reduce the number of objects on the screen. Of course, the customer would not have so many objects, but then the app would not crash. We cannot stretch beyond the allowed limit that Apple gives us. On the Disney holiday project, there was a requirement of screening the audio so that the user doesn't receive something objectionable, something that he would find as offensive. But then the best way to implement that was on the web end rather than the iPad, which the customer wanted. So again, we are saying no, don't do this, do the other way, because the team is giving the input. Now, a product owner, they might say typically is working for the client, he's building for the client. But the way we do it is we build it for ourselves. I'm not sure if any of you use, or if any of you have heard of the company 37 Signals. They started with just 3 or 4 guys, and the way they made their product, they said, we'll build it for ourselves. And if we love it, if it's successful for us, there would be millions of those people who would love to use it and would pay to use it. And that's what's happening right now. They build it for themselves. In the project deal day, the customer didn't give us even a hint of what would be a feature from the admin section. We completely built it by ourselves. We told the customer, these are the set of features that we need in the application, and this is what would actually fuel the user end of the application. We did it, and the project is really successful. I'll come to that later. And in the same project, we even did the designs. The customer, all that the customer said was, we need something white or we need something green. We made the design from the ground up. So it was the team that was giving the input. We were creating it for ourselves, the way we would love it. Next, defending the product. The first slide I showed you, in which I said that the product owner should really regard the product as his own, be committed to it. It also includes defending it. So when this deal day application was recently launched, this was about a year back, and it's for the people of Nigeria. It started as a Groupon clone for Nigeria. Now it has evolved into a lot more bigger. So there was this some blogger who was ranting about the web application. So you encounter these bloggers everywhere. Just to get their own 15 minutes of fame, they would actually rant upon a good application. And he was talking about some features which weren't there, which actually were. So I took out entire 2 hours, wrote him a lengthy mail saying, these are the features, these are the URLs, this is where you can access it from, almost like a complete help document about the application. That made sense to him. And okay, now by saying this, I might be putting the cat among the pigeons, and please don't hit me with bricks and stones if I say that the product owner needs to be the Scrum Master as well. I've read a lot of blogs and articles where they say that these 2 roles should be completely different. They're like 0 and 1, black and white. But these 2 roles I've been playing for Vinsol for the past 2 years, and I'm not saying this, but my boss says this, my team says this, my client says this, that we have been successful in this. And if we look at the roles and responsibilities of Scrum Master and that of a product owner, you would not see even one that conflicts. It's good to have 2 guys working on these roles so that they can discuss with each other whenever there's a conflict for a feature or whatever priority. But if the 2 roles are being played by 1 guy, then that discussion happens in the mind, and that's far more powerful than two guys talking to each other. The results that being a product owner 2.0 achieved was Deal Day was featured on Forbes.com, TechCrunch, and CNN.com. It's really regarded as a pioneer of web revolution in Nigeria. Disney Muppets. It went on to become new and noteworthy on the App Store, Apple's App Store, and then it went on to become the What's Hot. So much so it actually caused us to worry. I mean, this was good news, but it made us worry because we thought that the servers were never going to handle this. We hadn't really planned for this, but it went on and we finally upgraded the servers and everything really went well. That's all about it. I think I finished just on time.
Questions?
Go ahead.
Rajat, my first question is related to the backlog estimation. What we do in our project that there are two stages of estimation. One is the product owner estimates and one is the team estimates during the planning. So how do you do that? First question, and related to the next one, that how much different or your estimates differ from the team estimates?
Okay. So when we have a typical sprint estimation and planning meeting, all the developers sit together. Not just the developers. When we say that the word team, I'm talking about developers, I'm talking about QA, I'm talking about the UX guy, me included. We all sit together and we do a typical. We do a typical poker card estimation. So we discuss the feature. We have already written those stories, broken down into details. We are following everything down to the T. We discuss the story. Everybody. Yeah.
Before that, sorry to cut you.
Sure.
But before that, this is the planning estimate.
Yeah.
That is fine. No question on that. But what I was asking is, before that, the product owner also estimates the requirements, the user stories, at the backlog level, at the release level. Do you do that?
So you're talking about a high-level estimate from a release perspective, like these all set of features would go in a release.
Yes. If I ask you today that, okay, as a product owner, what is the status of your product? How much more do you want to develop, or how much more you need to develop?
Okay, so it's a good question and an interesting one. So, for example, this delay project, we are still not through with the with all the features. The reason being, we started with an MVP. We knew a set of features that had to be developed. We estimated them. We developed them. And while we were developing the MVP, I was actually discussing with the client in parallel the features that would come after the MVP. And this process has been going on since then. It's been almost a year now, and this process has been going on. We're still adding features to the backlog because any good product would continue to evolve. Of course, you might encounter a stage wherein you don't need active development, you just need to go into maintenance mode when you are adding small features. But till then, it continues to evolve, and you keep discussing those features, giving a rough estimate to the client, and then putting them in the backlog. Answering your second question, sorry, could you remind me again? I have a bad memory.
That's fine. I got the answer.
Okay, cool.
Rajat, one question. So you talked about like everything, every idea should come from the team, inputs rather. So does that mean like new features requests and all those should also come from? Because see, it's basically the user or the business who is doing it actually defines what exactly they are going to need. What is the impact of having or not having that feature? But I definitely consider your point that okay, once a business user has given his requirement, this is what I need. So let's say a business user asks, say, I need a feature to add purchase order on my website. He can add like maybe 10 files which may contain purchase order, and it can be of 10 MB each, and let's not have any limit on the on the number of files a user can have. So like team giving input that okay, how big can a purchase order can be, so we should restrict it to 1 or 2 MB. Instead of allowing an unlimited number of files, we should have some cap somewhere. So those inputs are good, but so I was not able to quite get what exactly you meant.
I'm glad you actually asked that question because it helps me elaborate my point also. So when I'm saying that the team gives the input on the features to be developed, I'm not saying that the team is becoming the product owner. The product owner is still the product owner. The team is only enhancing that. It's adding to it. So going with your example, say a user wants to add some certain number of files to the system. Yeah. So this is the feature that is there for user. Now what our team would add to this feature is, say, filtering by file types, searching by file types, searching by file names. Also, a customer typically or a user typically would not really think of these additional features that would really help, that would add teeth to that product, which is the responsibility of the team or the product owner to think of these features. These would be good to have. So, that is.
Okay, the last one. You talked about passion, product, ownership of the product, and the Scrum Master and the product owner to be the same, and all is good. You can say, I also like it, but I have a problem.
Sure,
I'm never happy with what I built because I know that a little more has to go in that. Who is the person stopping me from putting that little more in that?
Good, really good question. So, but one thing we need to be sure about is, are we actually gold plating? Right? So if you are actually adding features to your product, you would want it to be the best.
Exactly.
Right? You'd want it to be the best. And
the best that I can produce.
Exactly. And now every time you invest some effort in the product, it adds certain value to it, right? But over a period of time, that graph goes down. So the value you're actually adding, given the effort you're putting in, goes down. And once it reaches a plateau, so that's when you need to take a call whether it's still justified to add features to it or not. That's your point. As for let me complete. As for whether the client would approve of it or not, that's again, or the client or rather the product owner would approve of it or not. I'd say that's a gray area. If so, this is something that you really value. You think that this would really add value to the product, but in the end, it's the client's call. It's his money, right? If he thinks that okay, this is good to have, and we should go with it. If he agrees, we would love to. But we are not saying that hey, you're not no one to add anything. You're no one to give an opinion. We would love to hear your opinion. In fact, we would value your opinion more than ours. But it's his money, so we have to listen to him.
So for you, the client is the person who's stopping you from adding more features. Because I always thought that Scrum Master would actually play the devil's advocate and he will tell you that you're now going in the wrong path, we should do an iteration up till this point and then think of these set of features in the next iteration. But if you combine the product owner and the Scrum Master, then the same person has this dilemma of should I add this or not? Who's the person stopping me? Who's the person who's guiding me in the right direction?
Again, the point is of adding features. So when I said that features are allowed to be added or not allowed to be added, I'm not talking about the same sprint.
Okay.
So I'm talking about the product as a whole. I'm talking about the whole product backlog. So you worked on a certain section. You would think, for example, continuing with the previous example, we build the functionality for a user to add certain files. We know that it would be good to have a searching capability also, but our current sprint doesn't allow it. Fine, we create another story for searching, put it in the backlog, let it rise up the priority task, and then we pick it up.
And just adding to Rajat, like it actually is a matter of prioritization and reviewing your priorities again. That okay, next time use it again. So is further polishing the feature is more required, or working on another feature which is of a higher priority and which is more needed
I mean, I agree to your point, but it's all good when you're detached from the system. When you are in the system and you're so passionate about it, it's very hard to tell which is more priority than the other. Because you are the passionate guy who wants this thing.
Yeah, I've had scenarios where the client wanted everything yesterday.
Yes.
So that's how it is.
What kind of acceptance criteria did you use to have for having your definition of done? Did you have automated tests, or was it all specifications by example? How did you do it?
So when we're talking about the definition of done, we have feature complete, as in the features mentioned in the story. Refactored code, no significant design issues. As in, I'm okay if something is appearing 1 or 2 pixels above or below, but I don't want something to be going completely haywire. All thoroughly QA'd. And again, we are looking at not, when I'm saying thoroughly QA'd, I'm not talking about the extreme scenarios also. They could be, so again, the definition of done would actually vary for I would say a feature. For example, if you're talking about online ordering, I would have to take all the extreme scenarios because they would inevitably happen. But if I'm talking about a simple email that would go to users, fine, I would not really be that picky. Does that answer the question, or did I confuse you more?
Did you have any automated tests which you
not as of now, not as of now. But yes, we are working on it. Automated testing, TDD. These are some of the things that we are actually taking up.
So, one question over here. So, as DoD, so do you have a free flow DoD, or do you segregate? This is going to be my process quality related, definition of done, and this is my product quality related definitions of done.
Good question, because I didn't really get it.
Okay.
Love it if you can explain it a little more.
I'll clarify over here. Process quality related definition of done will state things like code reviews properly done, and dispositions are there. Design is reviewed before it is implemented. And test plans are there, and test results are verified before it is passed on to the next stage. Product quality will comprise of things like testing, the testing which is done, whether it is complete, is there any code coverage which is done for the code which I have written, what is the coverage over there, so things like that. So that is.
Yeah, we actually consider both of these aspects. So when we are actually going about the process of a sprint, all those DoD aspects for the process are taken into account, and when we are actually reviewing the product, that's when we take into account the DoD points for the product itself. We use RSpec for coverage, and we usually, if something is above 80 or 85%, we consider it to be good enough. So that's.
You showed that slide in which you mentioned that 45% features are never going to be used. So how do you deal with that kind of situation?
Again, by saying no to them. Firstly, if this is something that still has to be implemented, of course we can always think about a quick and dirty way. For example, there was this email sent out that had to be sent to all the customers informing of a new payment option on deal day. Now the client wanted for us to build him a feature wherein he can create an email, create a template, put some text, and send it all to all the customers for just this one, this mail. So what we suggested was, hey, instead of building this feature, give us the text, we'll get a template done, send it from our system. Quick and dirty, done and delivered. So we escaped those 45%.
Okay. Okay, thanks so much, Rajat.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, kindness. Yeah, next session.